But I was actually watching that fight thinking I wouldn't be surprised if he retired and actually didn't fight Crawford, because I don't think he'll want to lose to Crawford, a much smaller guy, just because he's at the end of the...
Eddie Hearn just dropped a bombshell that's shaken the entire boxing world. Canelo might be retiring. And if what Hearn says is true, the long-awaited mega fight with Terence Crawford is officially off the table. Out of nowhere, Hearn hit fans with the harsh truth. Canelo's ready to hang up his gloves. He may not have a single fight left in him. And Crawford? He's not even being considered. No talks, no calls, not even a hint of interest. Just like that, the dream matchup everyone's been hoping for could be dead in the water.
I'll be honest, I'd be very surprised if that fight happens. I think His Excellency has been pushing that fight. It didn't seem like it was something that Canelo was really up for, to be honest. And like, when I've spoken to Canelo before about that fight, I think he's kind of feeling is, when I beat Crawford, everyone's going to say I've beaten a 154 pounder. Like, and he also, I think at his age as well, I don't think he wants to be fighting guys that are just moving all the time, and he wants people to come to fight. And Crawford can't really come to fight like that in that fight because he's at a massive size disadvantage and he can't be standing in front of him. I don't think that fight will happen, but then when you think about it, like what are the options for Canelo Alvarez?
Benavides.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen either. He's put his flag in the sand, hasn't he? 150 million. I know he takes less, but I just don't see that. He's now up at 175, Benavides. I don't see him coming back to 68.
It gets worse. Insiders reveal that Canelo has been quietly hinting at walking away from boxing, possibly right after his next big payday. The back-to-back fights, the brutal weight cuts, the endless pressure, it's all catching up to him. He's exhausted, and it seems he's done giving fans the fights they want. From now on, it's only about what he wants. Oh, what does this mean for Terence Crawford? Why is Eddie Hearn pouring cold water on what could be the biggest fight in boxing? Is Canelo ducking? Or is this just smart business? Let's break it down. For years, Canelo Alvarez was that guy, fighting 3 times a year, chasing greatness across multiple weight classes, and becoming the undisputed face of modern boxing. But recently, something has changed. After a one-sided low-risk win over William Skull, it feels like Canelo's career has shifted into cruise control. Now, with zero interest in a mega fight against Terence Crawford, fans are left wondering, is Canelo Alvarez getting ready to retire?
If it isn't Canelo next year, are you done from the sport, Terence?
I wouldn't say that. Right now, I'm just weighing out my options and looking for the best opportunities and options for Terence Crawford in my career. Everybody got answers that need to be answered, and the only way they can be answered is if me and Canelo is in the ring and we fight. So if that fight does happen, then everybody answers that and questions and do's and don'ts.
Eddie Hearn, the man who helped steer Canelo through multiple blockbuster fights and championship runs, just dropped a quiet bombshell. He didn't announce a retirement. Instead, he said something even more telling. The Terence Crawford fight is dead. And maybe, it was never even close to happening in the first place. In a recent interview, Hearn opened up about several potential matchups, Shakur, Berlanga, and Teofimo. But when the subject turned to Canelo, his honesty hit hard. We got to a stage, Hearn said, where I think we did 7 or 8 fights with Canelo. And then we ran out of options. He asked me, "What do you have for me?" And I told him, the Bivol rematch. That's it, Duck. Let's be clear. This is Eddie Hearn, Canelo's most prominent international promoter. And he's admitting that the only fight left on the table is the one Canelo wants nothing to do with.
I don't think it's a fight Canelo really wants, if I'm honest, because I think he feels like he won't get a lot of credit beating a light middleweight. And Crawford's going to move a lot in that fight, which is not ideal for Canelo. But what's his options? I mean, if Bivol wins, he could fight him for undisputed. That's a very tough fight. What's the other options? Benavides is up at 175. Obviously, His Excellency wants to make that fight, so guess we could see it next.
So, no Crawford, no Benavides, no Beterbiv. Just a rematch with the one guy who already outclassed him, Dimitri Bivol. And what did Canelo do? He walked. Quietly. Straight to PBC and no drama, no shots fired. But sometimes, silence says more than words ever could. Now let's address the elephant in the ring, Terence Crawford.
Bud Crawford.
Yeah.
Just won his debut at 154. Said if the money's right, we'll fight. Everybody wants that fight. What do you feel about that matchup? People saying the weight, all this stuff. How do you feel about that?
You know, everybody wants to fight me. Everybody calling me out and everything. And you know, like I say, I have nothing to win with Crawford. 2-3 weights class less than me. But if the money is right, why not? Right? Why not? But look, I'm focused 100% on Berlanga. I know I have a challenge in front. I never overlook any fighter. So I'm focused 100% in this, and then we'll see.
But now, with the dream matchup against Canelo officially dead, here's what makes it sting even more. Crawford wanted that fight. He was calling for it, pushing for it, practically begging to make it happen. And what did Canelo do? He gave him skull, then ghosted.
When you say, I want Canelo, is there anybody in the camp that would say, you're not ready for this?
That's a big boy. He's strong. That's a conversation. It's not just,
Oh man, you will whoop his ass. Like yes, man type stuff.
I'm not worried about Canelo. I'm not thinking about Canelo. I'm just focused on Israel Magimov.
In a small way, is this a stepping stone to your dream fight?
I don't look at fights as stepping stones. It's about now.
So now fans are left asking the real question. Did Canelo just duck Bud? Or is this all part of a slow, silent retirement? Let's be real, Canelo's not afraid of anyone. But he is calculated, strategic. And at this stage in his career, it's starting to look like legacy might be taking a back seat to control.
How is Crawford going to be able to bridge this weight gap?
Yeah, I don't think he can, in all honesty. I mean, he might not be able to bridge it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So,
one weight class.
68, yeah, but you're coming up from 35. 35, 40, 47, 54. Sooner or later, it's one too many. And 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford's brilliant. Like, he's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized against Canelo Alvarez. Yeah. But you have to use your movement if you're Terence Crawford in that fight. The last thing you want to do is stand and trade. He'd be moving a lot in that fight, trust me. I'm not saying he'd be running, but he would be moving a lot. Of course, that's the way to beat him.
Yeah.
You know.
Think about it. Canelo is 34 years old, he's made hundreds of millions, he's the undisputed king at super middleweight to this point. He doesn't need to take risks anymore to fight with Crawford? That means putting everything on the line. His belts, his reputation, his legacy. One bad night, and suddenly the legend has a crack in it. And let's not forget, he's already been beaten by a smaller man, Dimitri Bivol. That scar's still fresh.
It's the self-belief. Like Crawford, I can't tell you how much belief Crawford has. I spent the weekend with him out there, you know, we was on the plane together. He has no doubt in his mind that he beats Canelo, and he does it easy, right? And Shakur has so much self-belief, zero doubt. And it's not like a complacency either. It's just like, I know exactly what they're going to do, and I know exactly what I'm going to do, and they can't.
Even Eddie Hearn admitted it. When they pitched the Bivol rematch, Canelo said, nah. So what does that tell you? If he won't run it back with a guy who already beat him, and he won't take on a fresh, legacy-defining challenge like Crawford, then yeah, retirement might be a lot closer than anyone thought.
What is it you want your legacy to be after that last match?
One of the best in the history of boxing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna cry that day.
That day?
Yeah, a lot.
Why?
Because I'm gonna miss boxing so
You'll
much.
miss it. Yeah.
That moment when you walk into the ring and hear all the people screaming and the singing that song you put and everything, I'm gonna miss that moment. But
here's the twist. Eddie Hearn also hinted that the game has completely changed, and it's all because of the Saudis. Just like we saw with Fury, and now Teofimo versus Boots, the money, the control, the decision-making power, it's all coming from Riyadh. Hearn said it plainly, if they've got the bag, the fights happen. If they don't, everything slows down. He added, boxing is going through a growth period in other territories, and we have to allow that growth to happen. So maybe this isn't just about Canelo ducking. Maybe it's not even about fear or retirement. Maybe the Saudis never wanted Crawford versus Canelo in the first place. Maybe the real reason the fight never happened is because the global power structure in boxing has shifted. And now, it's the politics, the networks, and the money overseas that are calling the shots.
Are we going to see Terence Crawford versus Canelo?
As I tell before to the ESPN, I give him the offer. If he's smart, he will accept it.
So just so we're clear, so everyone understands, you've already sent an offer to Canelo to fight Terence Crawford if Terence Crawford wins tonight.
But if he doesn't, I want Ortiz.
You want Ortiz? Virgil Ortiz versus Terence Crawford?
Yeah. If they accept, we want to see this fight, and I want to see Shakur Zubaydah.
Shakur Stevenson is here as well.
He accept, De La Hoya accept, Eddie accept. Let's do it.
Let's do the big fights. You've done so many big fights.
Canelo was always the boss, but now, he might be getting boxed out of the very business he once ruled.
Terence Crawford, his name keeps coming up, and I know he's a lot smaller than you. Is that a fight that you would ever consider under any circumstance?
You know, I always say if the fight make sense, why not? But he's not in the plan.
He's not in the plan. Okay. Is there a specific reason for it? Is it because of his size, or it won't do anything for you in terms of pushing you toward your goals?
You know, like I say, if it makes sense, maybe. I don't know right now. I just gonna enjoy this fight.
And let's not forget another major reason this fight has always been complicated, and why Canelo keeps dodging it. The huge weight difference. We're not talking a few pounds here. Crawford is a natural welterweight, dominating at 147 pounds and only recently moving up to 154. Meanwhile, Canelo's been comfortable at 168, even going as high as 175. That's a 20 to 30 pound gap between where each fighter feels strongest. And in boxing, that's not just about size, it's power, durability, and serious risk.
Been in the ring with Crawford too.
Oh shit! I didn't know you sparring.
I got Crawford ready for when he fought Sean Porter.
Okay.
I've been for a few weeks. What do I think of that fight?
Yeah.
I think that everybody knows that Crawford got the skills. I do think that Canelo's a little big for Crawford. And it'll be a tall task for him to win. It'll be a lot you got to do. It'll be a lot to get that victory based on, size alone. Not that size wouldn't fight, but you got a guy that got size and skill. And it'll be hard. I mean, nothing's impossible. But if I had my money on somebody winning the fight, it'll be Canelo Alvarez. Terence Crawford is a great fighter. They're both great fighters. You got two great fighters in there. I think one guy got the advantage due to his makeup, his body type, how big of a person he is, and I think that will be a deciding factor in that fight.
Jumping up 21 pounds, would Crawford have to fight the perfect fight?
Absolutely. Size will play a factor in that fight. It won't. It'll be a lot harder to damage Canelo. Canelo will be, his punches will be way more effective than Crawford's punches if they fight at 160.
Canelo knows this too. He's not about to drain himself down and lose his strength. And he definitely isn't giving Crawford the chance to come in light, fast, and sharp.
Crawford could beat Canelo Alvarez.
I think he's too small. But then again, I thought he was too small for Spence. So shows what I know. So I don't know. I think that's a lot of weight class jumping, but we'll see. It's a good talking point. I don't know that would really happen, or I mean, listen, we've seen some strange things in boxing, don't get me wrong, especially in the recent years. So I don't say never, but I don't know how seriously that's going to be taken. But I think when you're at a level, when you're coming off a big win like Crawford just did, anything you say reverberates through the sport.
The matchup sounds great on paper, but in reality, Canelo would have to make major sacrifices. And at this stage in his career, he's just not willing to do that. That's a big reason he's been dodging this fight, without ever officially ducking it.
So you said 68, but you mean 54, right?
No, 68.
You want to go up to 68? So who would you fight at 68? Canelo?
If he win, or
Wow.
Charlo, the winner.
Wow. That would be crazy.
I want to be 3-time undisputed.
So your goal was to go up and become undisputed in 3 different weight classes.
There you go.
Wow.
Something that never been done before.
Right.
I always said, man, that's a big step. That's a big step, but for a person to go up 3 weight classes from 147 to 168 and to win, and become undisputed, wow. What can they say? They can't say nothing right now, but what can they say? What would they say though? Three-time undisputed champion and the smaller fighter that went up 3 weight divisions to conquer one of the baddest mans.
Oh, and remember Edgar Berlanga? He was being groomed as Canelo's next big opponent, a young Puerto Rican star, a knockout artist with a huge personality. But Eddie just spilled the truth. The team behind Berlanga believed they could sell out a massive arena in Puerto Rico after Canelo. Eddie disagreed. Negotiations broke down, and the relationship between the camps got rocky.
It's a great fight, you know. And I'm Team Shiraz now because, you know, Edgar's had a lot to say. A lot of it is, it's not, like, we get on all right, but, like, you know, I think that I really like Hamza Shiraz. I think it's a brilliant fight. I think that Edgar will get a lot of confidence from Canelo. What Hamza said about the Canelo fight, Berlanga done great in the Canelo fight, but I don't think he really pushed himself in the fight as much as he could have done and probably might do now with that confidence. He hits very hard, but Hamza's been really starved at 160. You see the size of him, he's huge. I think it's a fantastic matchup. I think Hamza needs to be very careful in the first 5 or 6 rounds of that fight.
You feel like maybe he should have...
Why does that matter? Because Canelo was running out of names. Berlanga could have been a big-ticket fight, but now that bridge is burned.
Like, I'm not being fun. Like, you know, it's not like he's Canelo Alvarez or, you know, and he's a good fighter. Like, you know, he's going to be in a fun fight, and it'll be a tough fight for both on July 12th.
Yeah, you know, I remember hearing Oscar say one time when fighters would leave him and do their own thing, like, hey, you know, it's nothing personal, it's just business. I feel like he learned that, like, over the years, you know, because he himself did that when he left Bob Arum and so many other fighters. Like, have you gone to, like, that point where it's like no hard feelings? I know it's just business, just, hey, you're looking out for you.
Plays out. I guess it's case by case. You know, you also have to understand the business and the work. Like, it's a very tough sport. I think that the problem with a lot of fighters is they get poisoned by people around them. You know, in their ear, oh, this guy, you got to do this and that, and a lot of people that don't know what they're doing or talking about. But you've got to look out for yourself in this sport. And I think that the reality is sometimes...
Not chasing Crawford. Maybe he's just chasing peace, or maybe he's slowly fading into retirement with one last payday left in the tank.
The country. If I had to travel the world to fight, then so be it.
So what's next for Canelo? Maybe one more fight, a retirement bout, something sentimental, perhaps in Mexico. But don't hold your breath for Crawford.
I can't go down anymore. But you know, like he say, you know, when they ask him for the Germonta fight, they don't gonna get credit for that fight. It's the same for me. I don't need to take that fight because then everybody's gonna say it's too small, it's too small, it's too small, and then, you know, he need to enjoy his fight.
Okay,
he deserves it. He deserves it. I like Spence, but you know, I like Spence and all the respect for him and everything. But I knew. I think is the type of fight Terence Crawford is different. 168, but like I say, like he say, nobody's gonna give me credit for that.
Thank you very much.
For Crawford, the path is wide open. Charlo, Spence rematch, or even Boots Ennis if he stays at 147. And for the fans, here's the reality check. Don't wait on the fantasy matchups. Boxing is wild, and sometimes the best fights never happen. 2018 Canelo vs. Crawford is officially cooked. Not because of ducking, not because of fear, but because the game has changed. And so has Canelo. Retirement is in the air, and Eddie Hearn just lit the match. Hit that subscribe button if you're tired of dream fights dying in press conferences. And drop your thoughts in the comments. Is Canelo done, or just done taking risks? I'll catch you in the next one.